Here's a look at your market recap on this Friday, the 28th day of February. Box beef cutout values for the week mixed. Negotiated fed cattle trade lower. Prices at the cattle auctions around the state, they were significantly higher as we got back to normal business following the winter weather from the last couple weeks. Prices at the auction barns, they're back at or very near all-time record highs. Grain markets this week closed lower following the USDA Ag Outlook Forum, which had some bad news for the corn farmers with a huge increase in expected acreage this year. Even though the soybean acreage was down, pressure from South American production weighed in on the soybeans as well, pushing all the grains lower this week. Taking a look at the auction barns around the state this week, when all was said and done, we're going to end up with about 36,000 head of cattle that went through the brick and mortar barns. The National Feeder Cattle Index, based on an 800-pound steer up through the 12-state feeding regions, setting at 281.06. That's only 62 cents lower than the all-time record high set about 3 weeks ago. The Missouri Stocker formula, that's based on a 400 to 600-pound steer in the state of Missouri that goes through the feed or the brick and mortar auction barns. That stocker price setting at $348.77. That was established on Thursday, and that would be an all-time record high there as well. Taking a look at some of the stick-out sales at the sale barns around this week, drafts larger than 20 head. We'll start with the light ones and work all the way up to some of the heavier weights, and prices all across the board, as mentioned earlier, right at or near all-time records again. Had 31 head of 478-pound steers sell at Joplin Regional Stockyards at $425. New Cambria Livestock Market, they had 21 head of 532-pound steers that brought $390.50. The statewide average price on those light five weights this week, $365. At New Cambria Livestock Market as well, they had a full load of heavier weight 573-pound steers at $380.25. Mocan Livestock Market had 25 head of 603-pound steers at $353. Joplin Regional Stockyards sold a full load of 663-pound steers at $328. Windsor Livestock Auction, they had 118 heads, 741-pound steers that topped out at $307.75. The average statewide on those light seven weights this week is $292. Cuba, Missouri Interstate Regional Stockyards sold a full load of 789-pound steers at $288.75. Then at Green Sea Livestock Market, they sold a full load of 849-pound steers at $278.25. Mid-Missouri Livestock in Phillipsburg, they had a full load of 857-pound steers that brought $276. And then going back to Joplin Regional Stockyards, 93 head of steers, 921 pounds, had a price of $258.50. Taking a look at some of the prices on heifers this week, the heifers, especially on the heavier weight heifers that were suitable for replacements, starting to see some demand pick up there, and some of those replacement quality heifers seeing some big gains this week and some very impressive prices. Callaway Livestock Center, they sold 41 head of 542-pound heifers at $356.50. The average price statewide on those light five-weight heifers, $320. Windsor Livestock Auction, they sold 103 head of 636-pound heifers at $310.50. Lolly Brothers Livestock Market in Macon, 76 head, 719-pound heifers, $273.35. F&T Livestock Market in Palmyra, they had a load of heifers, 713 pounds, $276.50. The average price on those light seven weights statewide at $262. And then one of the biggest stick-out sales on some replacement quality heifers was at Unionville Livestock Market this week. 24 head, 855-pound heifers sold by the head for $2,400 a piece. That's over $3 a pound on those heavy 8-weight heifers. Taking a look at the box beef cutout values, Choice closed on Friday at $311.83. That was up $1.05 for the week. Select at $302.05. That was down 51 cents for the week. The Choice Select spread setting at $9.78 and volume today 101 loads of cuts, trimmings, and grinds. Negotiated feedlot trade as of the 2 o'clock cutoff date for the afternoon report on Friday, just shy of 33,000 head. Pre-light trades so far again this week. Probably a bit more after the 2 o'clock cutoff, but we'll have to wait until Monday until we get those final numbers. In Texas this week, 2,400 head. 197 to 198. Kansas reported just shy of 5,600 head, 195 to 198. Most sales at 197. Those live sales in the South, $2 lower from last week. Iowa, 6,479 head, live sales at 197 to 199. Dress sales from 312 to 315, mostly at 313. Nebraska, at the 2 o'clock cutoff date, they had 10,257 head. Live sales 197 to 199, mostly at 198. Dress sales all at 313. In the North, those live sales were $2 as well. Dress sales $2 lower than last week also. Estimated daily livestock slaughter for cattle this week, including Saturday's numbers, looking at about 566,000 head. Hogs, 2,538,000 head. Taking a look at the closing futures markets for the week, live cattle were 10 cents to $1.55 lower. Lean hogs from $4 to $5.60 lower for the week. And the feeder cattle, they closed the week from $4.63 to $7.02 higher. Live cattle, February contract on Friday down $1.67, 197.72. April down $3.47, 192.65. June at 188.77, down $3.55. Feeder cattle, the March contract $274.97, down $1.47. April $273 even, down $2.55 for the day, and May at $271.12, down $2.85 for the day. Lean hogs for April, $83.67, up 70 cents. May at $87.42, up $1.32. And June, $95.02, down $2.15. Turning our attention now to the grain markets at the elevators around the state on Friday. The soybeans were 23 to 28 cents lower for the week. Wheat was 44 to 54 lower, and corn 37 to 39 lower. At the elevators in St. Louis, corn prices on Friday, $4.56 to $4.59, Kansas City $4.13 to $4.43. Soybeans in the St. Louis region, $10.10 to $10.17, Kansas City at $9.61 to $9.91. And then wheat bids in St. Louis, $5.35 to $5.55, Kansas City at $5.25. On the Chicago Board of Trade, March corn closed Friday down 11 1/4 at 453 1/2. May at 469 1/2, down 11 1/2. March soybeans down 11 1/4, 10.11 1/2. May down 11 1/2 cents at 10.25 3/4. Wheat contracts March at 537, down 9 3/4. May at 555 3/4, down 6 3/4. Soybean meal for March up 80 cents a ton at 291.70. Soybean oil for March 43.53 a hundredweight, down $1.22. With the Missouri Department of Agriculture, that's a recap of your markets for Friday. This is Tony Hancock.